Welcome back to our conversation about breaking news out of Beacon Hill in the political and policy worlds with Matt Murphy and Katie Lannan of the State House News Service, the indispensable wire service of Beacon Hill. And Katie, State Senator Sonia Chang Diaz jumped into the Democratic race for governor last week on the heels of Harvard scholar Danielle Allen's entry. So when you add Ben Downing, the former state senator who's been in this race for a while, all three candidates so far seem at first glance to really be competing for left-wing or left-leaning support. And of course, that tends to be where the action is in statewide Democratic primaries. But doesn't this field run the risk of further cementing Charlie Baker's broad appeal, or broad support, I should say, among independents and more centrist Democrats?
That's an interesting point. And there is a lot of common ground among these three candidates so far. They have all spoken out against the early stages of the vaccine rollout here in Massachusetts. They all want to see more of a sense of urgency, more action from Beacon Hill. And I think there is a way to, if you are running against Beacon Hill, that can be very appealing to a more centrist voter, someone who's more independent. Now, of course, two of those people who are running against Beacon Hill to a point are one former and one current legislator themselves. So it's an interesting line to tread. Danielle Allen, of course, comes from kind of an outsider perspective. She doesn't have a political background, but not in the traditional sense. She says she's had a lot of advising and behind the scenes roles. So there's different ways they can kind of differentiate themselves. But it'll be interesting to see how much of the primary is a contest for the left vote, and if anyone really does make an appeal to that more independent voter.
And Matt, Attorney General Maura Healey in no way resembles an elephant, not physically or politically. However, she is the elephant in the room here. Where does all this leave her as a potential candidate?
She is, and I think people still see her as a potential front runner should she get in the race. She certainly has better name recognition and money to start if she were to get in, and I think that's why you're seeing her take her time. I think it's interesting for Democrats. A lot will depend on who they're running against. A campaign against Charlie Baker looks a lot different than a campaign against a Karen Polito or a Jeff Deal. If the governor has those centrist voters on lockdown, the energy for the party may be on the left. You want to look at what Ed Markey did and kind of energize those young activists and those young voters to boost turnout and take your shot at defeating a popular incumbent. Now, if someone like the lieutenant governor or even a more conservative Republican ends up with the nomination, that middle ground is really more up for grabs.
Look, we're just about out of time, but very briefly, I just want a hot take from both of you. Sports betting, is it going to make it through? There doesn't seem to be much in the way of, revenue pressure on the legislators to go for it the way there was when they approved casino gambling. Matt, go ahead.
There's not a lot of revenue pressure and there's not a lot of money attached to sports betting, but I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, it gets through. I think we've seen a little more momentum this session. We've seen people like Eric Lesser in the Senate, where this bill died last session, the chair of the relevant committee filing his own proposal. I'm going to say it gets done at some point over the next year and a half, just to keep Massachusetts competitive with its neighbors.
Would you bet on Matt's take, Katie?
I think I might, and I'll note too that this is something Governor Baker has been calling for a while, and this might be a rare area where they're able to get through something that appeals to both him and segments of the legislature.
We'll be watching. Katie Lannan, Matt Murphy, State House News Service, thank you so much for your time.